that the country has a lot of time to grieve. It'll be marked with official ceremonies, a state mourning, etc. But the transition happens relatively quickly. The royal family, the rest of the royal family now, it sounds like, almost has to get on with preparing for what's next.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the transition is immediate. The minute that Queen Elizabeth II died, her son Charles became Charles III. The only thing we didn't know was he going to call himself Charles, or was he going to choose another of his names? Charles, Philip, Arthur, George. You know, he could have chosen any one of those names to be the king of a different name. Many people thought he might choose the name George in honour of his father, George VI, but he's going to be Charles III. That was what was announced yesterday. So he is already the monarch, and I imagine is already making plans about what he's going to do, first of all, during the next 10 days or so, during the mourning period and the funeral of his mother, and then afterwards, or once he takes her place and assumes all his official duties.
So as we await that, Philip, what do you think, can you take us through the next hours and days of mourning in the UK?
Well, it's unclear whether or not the Queen is actually going to lie in state in Scotland, in St Giles, in Edinburgh. But what will happen is that her coffin will be brought back to London very shortly by train, and then it will be put on lie in state at Westminster Hall. Westminster Hall is part of the Palace of Westminster, where the government sits and where the House of Lords sits. That will be there for about 4 days, which will allow as many people as possible to file past to pay their final respects to the monarch. The last member of the royal family to lie in state there was the Queen Mother back in 2002. And then there will be a funeral for the Queen, which will take place at Westminster Abbey, which is only a short distance away from Westminster Hall. We don't know when that's going to be. That's going to be announced by Buckingham Palace within the next few hours or the next day, I would imagine, so that people can start making plans if they want to come to London to take part in that funeral procession. You have to remember, Erin, that all of this has been planned for years. I mean, some of these plans date back to the 1960s. They've been revamped several times. The Queen herself has been involved in planning her own funeral and what was going to happen. I mean, and just for an example, some former monarchs did not want to lie in state. For example, Queen Victoria was one, so it has to be agreed beforehand whether or not that is going to happen. So the Queen will lie in state to allow as many people as possible, if they want to come to London and are not willing to queue up and wait, to be able to file past her coffin and pay their final respects. So that is basically what is planned for the next few days. But of course, this is going to be a monumental affair with heads of state coming in from around the world. This is a very special occasion for not only the British, but I think for the world, and an occasion where many people will want to come to pay their final respects to the Queen. Even if they don't get to file past her coffin, they will want to be in London the day of the funeral. So there's a lot of planning still to be done about exactly how that is all going to happen on that day. But the actual funeral celebration itself and what is going to happen as far as organisation of that, it's all calculated right down to the last second, because this is such a monumental moment in British history that what the royal family doesn't want and what the British authorities don't want is for anybody to make a faux pas or there to be a problem on the day. This has got to go ahead smoothly, and that's why there's been so much planning going on about this for so many years now.
Certainly sounds like a lot of pressure, really, on everyone, difficult to balance with the grief. Philip, we'll keep it there for now. Thank you very much.